Good morning and happy Friday, guys. Welcome in, Andrew and Jeff with you. Let's get ready for the weekend. MLB, CFL talk. We're here as we are every Friday. I was with Jeff on Thursday. Usually it's a Tuesday, Friday, but we're doing shows together, as always, as you guys know. And I'm in a much better mood this Friday, I believe, than I was last Friday, which is always nice to get off to a good start to the CFL week. You get an outright winner on a +6.5. You sprinkle that money line, get a nice money line dog winner. So in a good mood to start the week, but a lot more work to be done in the CFL to recover from last weekend. Baseball, we got two team totals yesterday. Both of those got up and over. One of them, it only needed a couple innings. That's always a good feeling. But today's a new day. That's in the past. Jeff, you had a night off, and I know whenever you have a night off, that means you're putting in extra work and you're ready for the weekend. How are you?
Yeah, it was funny. We did our show yesterday. I talked exactly what you did. I said Calgary has been the team, but now they're instead of being hunted, they're the huntee, and 6.5, 7, 7.5, wherever you were shopping. A sprinkle, of course, a little beer and pizza money on that money line. I talked about the under. The numbers were screaming under to me. But what really the shocker on our show yesterday was how low the actual team total was, for Montreal, and they got the team total there as well. So it would have been a 4-0 sweep if you listened to the show with us yesterday. 3 games left in the CFL, of course. The Elks will be hunting tonight, and so excited to be here.
Well, great to have you as always. And we always talk team totals. We talk about the spot plays as well for some of these teams. As you mentioned, 3 games to go. Well, I guess let's first, before we jump into the actual games, let's talk about the market as a whole. In general, of course, we always talk about getting the best of the number. Whatever side you are going to be on, you want to get the best of the number. Yesterday, I actually wasn't able to do that because there were, I believe, some sevens, and I think DK held a 7.5. I always try and release the most reasonable and consensus number to my followers, of course. But I think there was a time and a place where there were consensus sevens out there. But once again, it was kind of a split where the public money was, where we saw the money come in at the end. And then we saw love towards Montreal kind of leading up to game time. So you talked about the hunters versus the huntees, and that's kind of how I felt about it. And, it's funny when, my girlfriend will ask me, okay, who are we cheering for? And, she doesn't want the whole blurb, doesn't want the whole analysis, but what's the deal here with this game? And I pretty much told her this. If Calgary beats us tonight, I'm not going against them the rest of the season. I said, pretty much the story of this pick is we're going against the team that beat me last week and has beat me a couple times this season, but their role has changed. And that's kind of how I felt. It was like this team just was a little bit different, laying points versus getting them. So as far as the CFL, how much do we care about the steam movement versus just trusting our own gut, Jeff? Because obviously you always in betting want to get the best of the number, but as you always talk about, the Elks have gotten steamed over the past 3 years and they've barely won any games, let alone covered point spreads.
We preach here trust and respect the opening number. It's an opening number from Vegas for a reason, and it's our job once we get the opening number and then we eventually get the closing number is to solve the riddle. Our job is to write the script, solve the riddle, and create the happy ending, which is cashing the ticket. Now, in the example here tonight, Edmonton and Saskatchewan, as you talked about yesterday, and we talked backstage, again, injury, backup quarterback, is the quarterback coming back, some 9.5s, and then the depth chart, the practice yesterday, 7.5s. Well, now overnight, and now again, we got some 9.5s at DK or 8.5 in Vegas at the Circa and everywhere else. So put it in perspective. NFL, there is just so much money wagered on the NFL. It doesn't matter. Our 25, 50s, hundreds, 1,000, 3,000, 5. We're not going to move the needle. It's just no, because there's a 500,000 here, 500,000 here. There's so much money being wagered now in the CFL and other small sports. A $3,000 wager at a sports book could move a line from a pick'em to -2.5.
Yeah.
So it's actual that steam, especially the night of the game. I'm gonna say this out loud, Andrew, to everyone watching and listening. I would honestly, in the CFL, I would go against the steam because it's going against the original or the overnight or the first number. So
Interesting.
I go against it. Now again, it's not a perfect science, but again, in a sport where you can manipulate the number real easy here, I'm going to fade the public or quote unquote the steam for the most part.
I know what you mean, and it's a great point. It's more so like you're getting an exaggerated number, and that's been especially this year if you've liked a dog, and a lot of money is continuously coming in on the favorite. We've seen like a +4.5 go up to a 6.5, 7.5, whatever it may be. So you're like, maybe I didn't like that team before, but now I have to jump in. And that's how I felt several weeks back when Calgary played Winnipeg for the first time. I think they were like only a couple point underdogs. And then they closed as 5.5 point underdogs. And I was like, okay, this is a little bit too much here. Now I got to get in, because in the NFL, you're not going to see that. Like, you might see a half a point adjustment, but you're not going to wake up on game day and be like, somebody just moved this line 3 points. It's just not going to happen. So painting the picture, obviously, Trey Ford, he takes the seat. He's on the bench now. Cody Fajardo takes over. Look, he's a former Grey Cup MVP. He was sitting on the bench. Look, for anybody out there that's not aware, I'm never a fan of conspiracies or any of this stuff, Jeff, but here's the deal. Trey Ford is a Canadian quarterback. The league obviously wants to push Canadian players. It's called the CFL. That's probably one of the reasons why this guy was being pushed. I think he has talent, but I think the guy that was sitting on the bench is more talented than him. That's just how it is. But on the halftime show yesterday of the Montreal game, they had a little debate with the panel. They broke down tonight's game pretty much, and their debate was like, some of them saying it's a good idea, some of them said it wasn't. And one of the guys said, you paid him. You kept him here in the offseason. You told him he was the starter. You have to give him a larger leash than 7 weeks. And then one of the guys said, who cares about paying him or what his role is? They need to care about winning now, not next year. And then one of them was kind of the Switzerland, like in the middle. Well, let's see what Fajardo can do. But the way I see it, and this is just kind of more football discussion, is the second you sit him, there ain't no going back. He's lost his job. He's not going back. And I read out the numbers on your show yesterday. I think Fajardo has like no interceptions. He's like 9 for 12 or something like that, like a 120 yards, something, 160 yards, maybe a touchdown. Obviously, he's coming in late in games once they're already down, so they're getting a prevent defense and stuff like that. But would you agree with me that now that he's out probably for good? And Bobby, I do the CFL show with, he's laughing because he grabbed 55-1 on the Elks Grey Cup. He said, I just wanted to wait to see as bad as this Elks team could get before I started betting futures on this Elks team, because that's how much better he thinks Fajardo is than Trey Ford. So, I mean, when you talk about just in general, Jeff, looking at a point spread like this, in all the time that you've been betting sports, how often have you seen a backup quarterback come in and the number gets lower?
You have to dig deep. Go back to not my glory day. Go way back. Drew Bledsoe was a starting quarterback for the Patriots. He got hurt. In came Tom Brady. Who knew that? And then when Drew was healthy again, he came back. But usually you don't see that very often. Maybe a rook pushing for a job where the owners are saying, no, you're holding the clipboard. Perfect example, Kansas City moves up 15 spots in the draft, drafts Patrick Mahomes. handed him a clipboard and said, "See that guy right there? His name is Alex Smith. That will be your mentor for the first year." And so he was mentored by Alex Smith for the first year, and then the next year he started. So unless there's someone pressing to get into, you don't see it very often, Andrew. And barring an injury, again, Trey will be holding the clipboard and cheering for his team, unless an injury from the field, I should say.
And the big debate I've had is that I might be alone on an island here, but I actually am one of the few that thinks that they should run a 2 QB system because he's a runner, he's fast, he could throw a couple passes, but use him for what he's good at. You already have him on the roster. So short and simple for me, I think that over 22 and a half, the big thing with this Elks team is who cares about who their quarterback is if they cannot stop anybody, Jeff. So there's 8.5s out there. There's 8s. There's a 7.5 at FanDuel. Over 22.5 team total is intriguing for this Elks team, I think.
Yeah, I'm on DraftKings right now as I did yesterday. Over 21.5 is minus 125. Over 22.5 minus 115. 23.5 is 105 plus 105, excuse me. So the honey hole is 23. So over 22.5 minus 115. And as we talked yesterday, this is just mind blowing to me. It's come down since yesterday. We were talking 33s and 34s. It has come down. Over 31.5 minus 125. Over 32.5 minus 120. Over 33.5 minus 105. Over 34.5 plus 130. So again, the honey hole for them is 34. So again, I'll ask you this right now, Andrew. More comfortable, Saskatchewan over 32.5 or Elks over 22.5?
That's a lot we're asking of Saskatchewan. That's a lot we're asking of them, but it kind of reminds me of, like, those when we see a team total in baseball at like 6.5, 7, and it's like, oh, well, it's like that for a reason. We always know it's like that for a reason. I don't know. I do think there's talent on this Elks team. Like in the offseason, when you and I were doing our previews for the CFL, I was listing off the receivers they added to their team, the running backs, the offensive line. Like, you don't want to just come on and crap on one player because it's more than that. But I really do think watching Fajardo play tonight is going to be a big difference in the Elks. So I think they can get over that number. The big thing for me is the time of possession. Like, the defense has not been good for the Elks, but they've also been on the field like 70% of the time. Trey Ford would go out there, he'd go 2 and out, or get 1 first down, then go out again. Where I think that Fajardo is going to be able to march the field. That was the Winnipeg special for years, Jeff, is, hey, we might march the field for 7.5 minutes, settle for a field goal, but you're not even going to touch the ball this whole quarter. So that, I think, could help them. Do I think that, well, big win last week for Saskatchewan against BC. Big win for them, and you look at a couple of the other scores they've had as of late, they haven't been as great, but man, did they put up some points last week. Was that the big game that they cared about last week against the Lions? And then this is the week where it's like, hey, let's get in there with a win, but this doesn't pump us up nearly as much.
I just know this. The Edmonton defense is bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. And again, I hope on the Edmonton side they do put up some points. Excuse me, just so Saskatchewan, puts up more. Again, I just, yesterday when we were breaking this down, I had never seen it so high in my life. We were talking about it because I think the plus money was actually at 34.5 and the soft spot literally was on 34. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Ooh, is this Patrick Mahomes? Is this the old Rams team, the best show on turf here? What the hell is going on here?
Yeah, and this could be like a 36, like 27, 36, or 33, what they're getting in the 30s, Saskatchewan. I would probably say they're getting in the 30s or late 20s. But as you say, I do believe, though, in order for a team to get into the early 30s or even mid 30s, you need a defensive score. You need a fumble recovery, a pick six. It's hard in any CFL game to get into the 30s. Most teams that get into the 30s, they have at least one fumble recovery, a pick six, or a punt return, a kickoff return. It's not all just pure drives, 40, 50 yards, 60-yard drives. So we'll see what happens with that. Winnipeg, I mentioned yesterday on your show about the whole thing. 2.5 went to 5.5, now back to 4.5. I lean towards their team total. Toronto's not getting much better. Hamilton, BC. My analysis on that one was more so instead of betting on a team after a bye week, how about betting on a team before a bye week, before going into the bye, which is kind of why I like BC. Hamilton, back-to-back wins against Ottawa. Good for them. They beat Montreal as well, but when you beat Ottawa twice and then you go to play a pissed-off BC team on the road, I'll take BC any day that ends in Y, Jeff. So any other closing thoughts for you on the CFL?
Yeah, I mean, Winnipeg, Toronto, 52.5. I'm starting to feel that Toronto, almost like Calgary feeling like, I want to fade them and then they bite me in the you know what. Winnipeg overdue, back to 5.5 over on DraftKings with a 52.5. Might look at their team total there. And Hamilton, BC, listen, how many times have we seen this on the Sunday night special? 55 and a hook. The under over first one to 30 wins this game. This will probably end up being 24-23 with the BC Lion walk-off field goal.
So it's going to be a good game is what you're telling me. It's going to be a fun game. All right. I'm curious to see how BC handles that one. They're 11-1 right now to win the Grey Cup going in to their last game before the bye week. So we'll see what happens here. All right, we're going to get some quick baseball talk, and then we'll get Jeff out of here. Only got a few more minutes. Make sure you follow Jeff on X at EC Sports Invest. Shows, picks, alerts, much more. EastCoastSportsInvestors.com. Send him a DM. Let him know I sent you, and he'll make sure he takes care of you. Get you a good deal, get you on the long-term access. Golf, hoops, football, baseball, NASCAR. I got to start jumping in on the NASCAR picks you send out, Jeff, every single weekend. But he does it all, but he also will manage your bankroll. And Jeff took a night off last night, and if you guys know what that means, he's coming out swinging the next couple of days. So watch out for that. For me, guys, code WEEKEND39. WEEKEND39 at checkout for a 3-day pass. Gets you 3 days for the price of one. That's all sports. So for me, for the most part, it'll be just baseball and CFL. WT.buzz/AM WEEKEND39. Great night last night in the CFL with the spread winner and the outright money line winner. We had 3 winners in baseball. We had an early action, Baltimore Orioles. All the money in the world on the Cleveland Guardians. We go the other way, and then we cash 2 team totals in the evening. So let's have ourselves a great weekend, guys. If you don't want to join me long-term on the full CFL season, WEEKEND39 is your friend there, and 3 days for the price of one. All right, let's look at the baseball slate here for today. It's much bigger, of course, than it was yesterday. There's a handful of things to look at, but any numbers that surprised you or market moves overnight? Obviously, we're talking here around 11 o'clock Eastern time. What are you seeing right now in the market?
I see a couple flips. Toronto overnight was -115. Berrios versus Montero. They're traveling to a struggling Detroit team who I think is like 1-9 their last 10. Now Detroit -112 there, but your surging Jays again favored overnight -115. Now you can get them at +100 there. What else did I see? Tampa at Cincinnati, Lytle overnight -120 against Nick Martinez. Now Nick Martinez -108 as the Reds are small favorites there. Again, Tampa overnight -120. Now you can get them at -104. Right now, the Dodgers with Sheehan opened up -120. Now they're -118. At Friendly Fenway, where I am right now against Bello. A couple things on this. Dodgers are minus 115 to win the series. The Red Sox are minus 105. If Bello can get out of the first inning unscathed, didn't give a crooked number up, I like the Red Sox tonight. I like their team total over 4.5. But what I will suggest is this: is they got Crochet on the mound tomorrow versus Kershaw. If the Sox find a way to win today, they're going to win tomorrow with Crochet. So my point is, take a look at the Red Sox minus 105 in the series. You get them to sneak out a win with Bello tonight. They'll be a big favorite with Crochet tomorrow. Get you two and toodaloo, as we like to say there.
I like that.
And last but not least, Washington traveling to Minnesota. Gore versus Matthews. Minnesota overnight minus 135, now minus 163. So some pretty good money came in a correction on the Twinkies tonight versus the Washington. I was going to say Commanders, but Washington Nationals.
I like it. Jeff, sometimes when it's like a certain pitcher that you're just like, almost like it's been two wash, rinse, repeat, that you almost like, it was like, remember everybody was on Patrick Corbin Day. Like you saw a tweet, happy Patrick Corbin Day, everybody. And you go against them. Well, on every list I see for today, and I told you I was looking at some charts earlier, Miles Mikolas today seems like the guy to go against. And yesterday, I always like when you can like bet on a team one day and then bet against the team the other. And, Padres plus one, just moved. It was plus 105 like 20 seconds ago, plus 100 now at DK, over 4.5. And both teams actually put up runs yesterday. This series overall has been high scoring, but I mean, he's getting absolutely crushed right now. xERA is 5.56 for him. And the bullpen has been just mediocre, average, I would say. But is he one of those guys you feel like if you haven't bet against them, you're too late to the party? Or at this point, you wouldn't mind people going against them?
Well, it was like talking backstage. I call him the biggest luck box in MLB this year and probably history, and that's the Vasquez kid for the Padres. He'll give up 2 base hits every inning, walks in between 7 guys on base, and he won't give up a runner. He'll just give up 1. Again, Mikolas is one of those guys. I think tonight, I was looking at that team total. You can get the Padres team total over 4.5 plus 105. I'd buy that now if you can. And there was one other one, Yankees, and here's another guy we're picking on, Taijuan Walker. Again, but Yankees team total over 5.5. You can get that at plus 108 today. So I like Yankees team total over, and I do like the Padres team total over.
Whenever you see a 5.5, it's like, okay. 5.5, small plus money there. Yankees, see if they can get it going a little bit. A lot of interesting spots to look at for today. I'll be waiting for that alert from you for your final picks and your thoughts there. We'll see if we can see some dingers at Fenway tonight. Hopefully we can, and hopefully my Jays keep going. We got the hat backwards today. We're feeling comfy, but this Jays hat hasn't come off in I think 3 weeks, so we've been a hat guy lately. This Jays team continues to do well. Today, I think we see runs overall for both teams in the Jays game. So wouldn't be shocked to see just a full game over there in that one. Jose Barrios, quick thoughts on him? Like, is he a guy? He seems like a guy, Jeff, you were talking about a guy that can kind of look good, but they're not playing. Every time he's up on the mound, I get sweaty. I'm like, what the hell is this guy going to do? He'll get 2 guys on base, then he'll strike 3 guys out. He makes me nervous.
Yeah, again, I like to say he's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get, You bet against him, he's Cy Berrios. You bet on him, and it's like whiplash. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And so now this Detroit team, 1-9, its last 10, really struggling, yet their team total's 4.5. Juiced under minus 135. I don't think they've scored 5 runs total in a week. And now they're going to say, here, get to 5 and we'll give you plus 115. First 1 to 5 tonight, by the way, wins that game there. So I don't know what barriers you're going to get. Vegas liked them overnight, and the public in some of the shops overnight said, not so fast. Friday night, Detroit Rock City, they stopped the bleeding against the Surgeon Jays. That's what I see overnight.
All right. All right. We'll see what ends up happening tonight. Jeff at EC Sports Invest on X. If you're not following him, you have to. Get all the best news, info. I'm on the email list as well. New email list. Jeff's making some changes. I like it. EastCoastSportsInvestors.com. Thanks as always, Jeff. Wishing all of you a really great weekend and hope you guys find some winners in the MLB and the CFL. We'll see you next time.